Hey guys, in this video I wanted to go over my top 3 tips on how you can cut without losing muscle mass and strength. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first tip is going to be, do not lose weight too fast. I think if you're really concerned about retaining as much muscle as possible and strength along with that, keeping weight loss a little bit more conservative around 1 pound per week is a really great rate of weight loss. Why is that? So the faster that you lose weight, you're going to have more risk of losing muscle mass. It's just what's going to happen. You're going to have more muscle protein breakdown in general, but keeping things at a more of a conservative rate of loss is going to help make sure that you're not giving your body more of a reason to lose muscle. And I think in particular this is important when we're talking about training for performance and keeping that high, because there's a pretty good correlation between your training performance numbers you're able to put up in the gym for whatever rep ranges that you're using with muscle mass retention and muscle mass gain. So if you're getting stronger, you're likely going to be building muscle mass, especially if you are skilled at a certain movement pattern. So if you've done dumbbell curls for a year or 2 or more, at that point you are skilled, and if you're gaining any sort of strength on that movement, you're probably building some muscle. Likewise, if you're retaining strength while on a deficit, especially if your leverages are changing, that's a really good sign that you're maintaining muscle mass. Now, one caveat here is that it's a little bit more helpful to look at strength retention on single joint isolation exercises that are less affected by leverage changes with changing limb segment like thicknesses. So like anybody who's dieted down will say, okay, my squats don't feel the exact same because my quads might not be as big, or their belly in particular might not be as big, getting as much rebound out of the hole. But if say their leg extensions are hanging on the same strength, or maybe even increased, that's a good sign that we're probably not in a spot where we really need to worry about muscle loss. And then as far as, for strength gains and strength retention in this, context, you want to keep things a little bit slower, because if you have such a low energy availability, you're not going to be able to perform well. Your leverages are going to change really fast. And if you're powerlifting, for example, you want to hold on to your muscle mass and your strength as much as possible, just keeping things a little bit slower. I think also from a psychological stress standpoint, it's just better to keep things a little bit slower, more moderate. I always tell my clients, anything above a pound a week is kind of more like that white knuckle sort of diet. You really have to pay attention to what you're doing. It becomes more of a you're very conscious that you're dieting in everyday life, and any way that you can sort of decrease that RPE of your diet is generally better. And from my personal experience, the most successful diets I've seen with most clients and with myself have ones where they've kind of just been able to fall in the background of my life, and I'm not like I said, white knuckling. I'm very aware that I'm dieting. So just make sure you keep body weight loss a little bit more conservative. 1 pound per week is a really great way to be. A really good way to figure out how much that is for deficit for you, because it does depend on your body weight. People always think it's estimate was the 500 calorie rule, and that's true for 200 pounds. So basically a good starting spot with that is taking your body weight and multiplying that by 2.5. That's going to give you a really good starting spot for seeing, okay, well, my maintenance calories are 3,000, and I weigh 200 pounds, multiply that by 2.5, 500 calories less, 2,500 calories, just as a sake of example. Now my second tip is going to be have refeed days, so days where you're eating in particular more carbs and putting yourself closer to maintenance calories, or even a very small surplus prior to your heaviest training sessions or priority sessions. This is more geared towards the powerlifters and people that are more interested in strength performance, especially on lower rep ranges, which are very dependent upon glycogen, with just the creatine phosphate system and whatever. I like seeing about a 1% body weight gain on average from this refeed day, from this higher calorie day. And the reason why I want to place it before a heavy training day is because if you're just putting it on, you're not actually going to get out of that food going towards that heavy session. Basically, a good way to think about strength and nutrition is that the prior day of eating determines performance on the next day. That's really how things go. So if you severely undereat by 1,000 calories the day before you're supposed to have a heavy squat, it's probably not going to feel as good lots of stuff that we're doing like before training session with nutrition is just to really stabilize blood sugar levels, provide some energy, etc. But glycogen stores, stuff like that, which mainly we're trying to get up. This glycogen plays a really big role in your ability to like produce force, and overall like recovery too going into that session. Having a refeed day that allows you to like get closer to that is going to be good. So you might have to experiment with this, but usually I find my clients tend to get that 1% body weight gain about right maintenance, or maybe even we have to go like a little bit above that, and I'm okay with that, because as long as we're seeing weight loss trend downwards across the weeks, we're in a really good spot. And like I said, so say if you have, by the way, this is like around like priority sessions. So say, I like in particular putting this before like lower body sessions. I find those are a little bit more dependent on that glycogen being the quads are like the biggest muscle of the body. But one other thing that I will do for clients is maybe I have like a couple high days in a row, and we'll try putting their heaviest sessions like in a 2-day span, so we can really take advantage of that. And then you accept a slight maybe things don't feel as good, more fatigued on other days. So that's my second tip. Put refeed days, higher calorie days before your priority training sessions. And then my last tip is really going to be more mental. So a big thing that happens when people go into a deficit is they kind of get in their head about being in a deficit. I'm eating less, I'm tired, you may be more hungry, etc. People kind of will start to feel sorry for themselves, not try as hard, get more in their head about it. The weight feels heavy on their back, and they kind of just stop fighting, or they just don't have the discipline to like lifting heavy. And you have to have a different mentality when you are essentially training in a deficit. Like that's a skill too. It's much more difficult to obviously than training a surplus for maintenance calories. But I think that having the psychology that, hey, this might feel hard, but like that's just how training is going to be for right now. I might not have as much energy, but hey, I'm going to still go in there, do my best, hit my numbers, hit my RPE, and I'm going to adjust my programming based off of what's happening in training. So because this is like one of the benefits of having a coach is that you can tell the coach like how you actually feel, and they can say, okay, well, based off of what you're telling me, we should probably change X, Y, Z about the program to help manage your fatigue a little bit better, because that's really what it is. We were introducing calorie deficit, we're introducing a little bit more fatigue into the equation than if you were eating adequate calories. And there might need to be different strategies you have to implement with your overall training program. But it's on you as the person that's lifting and executing the program in a deficit to like still show up, still do your best, still have that mentality that you would have in a surplus. When you feel good that you're going to come in and attack your training sessions. Because if you're just coming into the gym and you're like, I'm tired, it's going to feel heavy, whatever, I'm not going to try very hard. You're not going to try very hard. You're probably going to lose strength and whatnot. You kind of have to be a little bit crazy to do this sport in some senses. When I was dieting down from my last meet, it was really hard. Like I remember walking into the gym and being like, holy crap, I have to like lift heavy today. I didn't feel like it. Like I was tired, I was hungry, whatever, but I just loaded the weight on the bar. I was like, damn, I'm still pretty strong. I'm still in a really great spot. And I didn't nocebo myself and making myself think that just because I wasn't eating as much, I wasn't going to be as strong. That really shouldn't be the case in most people's diets, like unless you're like hyper lean or you've been dieting for like way too long or like losing way too much body weight. And again, like this is when you have a coach and somebody who's experienced this guides you through this. So hopefully that was helpful. If you guys have any questions, just ask down below. And if you guys are looking to really go on a diet, get leaner, or maybe maintain a lean physique while being able to get stronger, like using a lot of these strategies, maybe you do want to take the load off of yourself with making all of these decisions, you can apply down below for coaching. I'd be happy to hop on a free 30-minute call with you just to see what your goals are, if you would be a good fit. So I'll talk to you guys in the next one. See ya.